How to overcome low confidence and negativity. Confidence comes when you focus on the self. Self is represented by the sun. Sun is the source of consciousness. The greater the consciousness, the greater is the realization of the self. Consciousness is within all of us. The sun is within all of us. There is a sun within every person, says Rumi. Righteousness is represented by Jupiter. It is through the planet Jupiter that you come to the realization of what is good and what is bad for you. People who make wrong decisions often have an afflicted Jupiter in their birth charts, simply because they cannot realize what is truly good to their progress in life. They generally make wrong decisions in the early stage of their life, but with time they mature and start making decisions that are well balanced. Truly successful decision making relies on a balance between deliberate and instinctive thinking. Courage is represented by Mars and Ketu. It is through Mars and Ketu that you are able to show courage and lead the pack. Courage comes only when you have confidence in yourself. Believing that you are enough is what gives you the courage to be authentic. Self is at the root of one's confidence, and so sun is the key, the essential key to confidence. Low confidence and negativity has to do more with what path you choose to walk upon. A truthful man, a truthful woman has nothing to fear. For many births and rebirths, such a soul has always been walking on the path of truthfulness. Such a man, such a woman is beautiful. They never have to fear. They don't know what is fear. They remain strong when the tide is low, and they remain humble when the tide is high. Once you start following the truth, once you start becoming a part of the truth, then the confidence comes. Then the whole world is available to you. Then you are no more the same. You have transformed into a beautiful butterfly. The ugly caterpillar has transformed into a beautiful butterfly. But a question may arise: how to get started? And the answer is simple. Get started with friends who love the truth. Company matters. With whom you are matters, and it matters significantly. Sangha or satsanga enables you to gain confidence. Listening, reading the words of truth, the word of God, following the light of consciousness brings a tremendous change and a push to your confidence level. Then you start realizing that you too can change. You too can experience the higher altitudes. That you too can listen to the melodious music of this wonderful journey called life. Many times alone you may not be able to gather that much courage. Alone you may feel hopeless. But when you see many people dancing, singing, rejoicing in their journey, great courage arises in your heart. Great trust, confidence arises in yourself. You become confident that it is possible in this life to be a Buddha. Only a man, a woman who is following the word of God can live his or her life with confidence, with dignity, with love. The Bible has a beautiful verse. It says, "In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was with God, and the Word was God." How beautiful is this? A woman who has been cheating her husband or her lover cannot gain confidence. She may move around with a fake confidence like a sheep in the disguise of a lioness, but she is not the real lioness. The confidence of a lioness never exists in her. It never can. A man who has been fooling around the town cannot gain the confidence of a lion. He too is a sheep that roams in the disguise of a lion. Confidence comes only when there is absolutely nothing to feel ashamed of, nothing to hide, nothing to manipulate. You simply are as you are. You have accepted yourself in totality. And only a man who accepts himself becomes beautiful. He is not afraid of his reality. He is not hiding anything. He lives his life with absolutely no regrets. Such a man always wins in the end. Such a man is the real man. The real being. He is an individual and not just a personality. The Master says, "My whole love and respect is for the person who accepts himself totally as he is." He has courage. He has courage to face the whole pressure of the society which is bent upon splitting him into divisions, into good and bad, into saint and sinner. He is really a brave, courageous being who stands against the whole history of man, of morality, and declares to the skies his reality, whatever it is. Yesterday, a young man came and he said, "A girl loves me, but today she told me everything about her past. She has a terrible past, and I got to know about it when she told me everything." I said to him, "She is the girl that you should not let go. Because she loves you, she has shown the courage to tell you the truth. And a person who is truthful is rare to find. She is worth it. Do not let her go. Let her become a part of your life. And your life will definitely blossom into a beautiful flower." To be with a truthful woman, a truthful man is what can make your life a garden of bliss. And truth requires tremendous courage. The fear of losing is always there. The nature of clinging prevents you from being truthful. But then, what is the value of such a life? A life lived with lies and fear. What is the value? Fear exists, low confidence exists, when you are trying to become, when you are not happy of being yourself. If you want to be trusted, be honest. If you want to be honest, be truthful. If you want to be truthful, be yourself, says the Buddha. The first step towards gaining confidence is to declare to the skies your reality without feeling ashamed of anything, without hesitating to open up in totality. Only an open man can be truthful. A closed man is a man of many lies. He is a man who goes on suppressing his feelings, the truths, and in the process becomes more miserable than otherwise. You have to be with an open man, a man who is moving towards the beyond. But such a man may not be appealing to a woman who is yet to meditate, yet to turn inward. Once it happened, a young man, and he was a meditative man, and he fell in love with a beautiful woman. And love happens, you cannot help. It happened with this young man, but after a few days, he comes to the master and says, "My girlfriend says, I am cold, I am not hot. She says I don't know nothing about love. I think she may be right, but please guide me." Now listen to those words again. The young man is concluding. He says she must be right. The master smiles and says she is not right. Because you are not cold, you are cool. And it is not true that you don't know love, but people are used to a hot love. And in their mind, there are only two possibilities. Either you are hot about them or you are cold. They cannot relate to the balanced state. They simply miss. A man of meditation, a man of awareness, never becomes cold and never remains hot either. He becomes cool, calm, and quiet. His love takes a totally new dimension, which will appear to ordinary people as indifference. To those who understand, his love becomes less noisy, less stupid, less retarded, less biological, but starts having a flavor of spirituality, which needs an understanding. Otherwise, the other person, your partner or lover, is bound to think you have become cold. Why the girlfriend of this young meditative man thinks that he is cold? Because the young man has gone way ahead. Through meditation, he has moved on to the higher altitudes of love, while his girlfriend has been left behind. She is not growing in meditation. The young man is growing, and so the distance is growing between them. Either the girlfriend has to catch up by being more meditative, or the distance can eventually lead to a breakup. Because when there is no range, the call always disconnects. But the matter does not end here, because the young meditative man had said that maybe she is right. It seems that the girlfriend has become more powerful in making him think that she is right. It is indeed a very unfortunate situation for a man who is growing in meditation but is giving up to a woman who knows nothing about meditation. Now either he can help her to move into meditation, or else she will destroy him in totality. And convincing her to move into meditation is not an easy task. Every woman, every girlfriend in the very beginning throws many tantrums. She will throw pillows on you. She will try to disturb your meditations because she understands that you are slipping out of her hands. She cannot possess you anymore. Meditation has given you a freedom that is beyond her understanding, and she just can't stand it. Socrates' wife also used to disturb Socrates when he used to teach his students. Socrates was a meditative man, deeply meditative. One day his wife poured boiling water on his face and burnt his half face for his whole life. He was teaching his students, and you will now understand what coolness is. He simply wiped the water on his face and continued with what he was teaching. Now the students who were witnessing all of this were shocked. They thought, how can this woman behave like this? And even if she had to, she would have done it when we were gone, at least not before us. And so now, all the questions that they had come up with were forgotten, and the only question that remained in their head was, why? Why the master Socrates, such a great wise man, has not taken any note of this strange behavior of his wife? Why he has not reacted or responded? Why and how can he be so cool? And Socrates smiled and said, whenever she is capable of doing, she has done. And whatever I am capable of, I am doing. Our capacities are different. This is nobody's fault. Socrates is not angry with his wife. On the contrary, he is very compassionate. He further says, any woman would have done the same, because I am continually concerned with my students, with philosophers coming from far away places to visit me, and I am discussing things in which she is not interested at all. Sometimes the whole day passes and I don't have any time for her. She is a poor woman and she is behaving just as any unconscious human being is supposed to behave. It happens. It always happens when the partners are not at the same level of consciousness. The friction happens, and it is always one-sided because the other side is always cool, compassionate, and understanding. But when both the partners, the husband and wife, or the girlfriend and boyfriend, are meditative beings, then the balance blossoms. The relationship becomes more beautiful. Then there is a song to it, a dance. Then life becomes a garden of bliss. When you and your partner grow together in meditations, then it has a beauty of its own. No conflict is sin. When couples grow together, hand in hand, dancing the same dance, singing the same song, as they grow together, the understanding also grows. Then there is no trouble. But if they both are not growing together, then the one who is left behind feels offended. Then he or she goes on creating many troubles. The young man realized his mistake. At least he should have tried to help his girlfriend grow along with him. At least he should have helped her to initiate meditations, because when you are in a relationship, you should try to see that there is a balance. And balance is possible only when you and your partner both meditate, both self realize the significance of meditations. When you become meditative, when you become a prayerful man or a prayerful woman, when you devote a certain time to your daily meditations, and when you remain firm on the path of truthfulness, confidence comes naturally. The greater the willingness to remain detached, the greater is the depth of self confidence. It is only when you remain attached that you fear of losing, and this fear then prevents you from being truthful. And once you move away from the path of truthfulness, you start losing on confidence, and your body then starts attracting negativity. Always remember, life is a flow. In this flow, one comes across many experiences. One goes through many relationships, many people, many situations. Always remember, life is a flow. In this flow, one comes across many experiences. One goes through many relationships, many people, many situations. Do not suppress those experiences. Suppression is suicide. Expression is life. When you express yourself freely, when there is absolutely no hiding, then life is straight, and a straight path always makes everything straight in your life. A young woman had been through multiple relationships. They all failed, but she remained open. She would not hide her past. Only that woman hides her past who is not willing to face and accept her failed relationships. She is afraid of sharing her failures, and so she goes on suppressing herself, which in turn impacts her confidence levels. A woman who has accepted her past has nothing to hide. She opens up. She looks confident. There is absolutely no guilt. Such a woman understands life. She succeeds in her life because whatever she have been through, she never represses. She never hides. She accepts, and only a person who accepts her past can move on. And it is only when you can move on that you can progress in life with confidence. It all begins with being truthful. If you had done certain mistakes, so what? You simply accept your mistakes, learn from it, and move on. To commit mistakes is not wrong. Commit as many mistakes as possible, because that is the way you will be learning more. You will evolve. But don't commit the same mistake again and again, because that makes you stupid. By being truthful to yourself, you are able to be truthful with others, and that makes a huge difference in your life. People are looking into horoscopes to find out the reason for their low confidence, their negativity, and this is the greatest irony of mankind. Horoscopes are nothing but a reflection of what you are. Horoscope is just a representation of what you have been doing from many births and rebirths. Repeating the same mistakes again and again and again until a day comes in your life when you start turning inwards. When the divine intervention of the benevolent Master brings awareness to your being, then, only then, the repeating cycle of mistakes stop. The vicious cycle of ignorance is finally brought to end, and with this end, the new beginning, the new sunrise, the new direction to your life comes, and then there is no looking back. The road is clear and you are ready to walk the talk. When you walk the talk, when you live by following the truth, when your communion is with those who love God, who are truthful beings, devoted beings, only then there is a possibility for you to grow, to gain confidence. Satsanga is the key to your transformation. It is said that company matters. With whom you live matters. With whom you are friends with matters. Whom you follow matters. Because at the end of the day, it is the vibrations, it is the thoughts that you receive is what is going to make you or break you. The satsanga is within the mass culture, like little mushrooms here and there, and somebody, maybe a Christian and a Hindu and a Buddhist, come together. Doesn't matter, because those are paths. They are paths to the one, but those satsangs are what the world needs. And as I say, heart to heart, that's what satsanga is. For satsanga, that is a divine communion, how to identify real men of values, men of heart? That must be your next question. The answer is simple. For that, first you have to get real. And to get real, you have to first jump within. Look within and change the focus from outside to inside. Only then can you find real gems in your life. Only then can you listen to the music of your life that others can't. Only then can you change your life. It all begins from you. You have to let change happen. You cannot change yourself. The old cannot change itself. It has to give way to the other. And so, it is only when you surrender to your Lord, your Master, that the change within is initiated. This is how it happens. This is the way of its happening. The larger question that you all should ask yourself is that, are you ready to surrender? If you are, then let me tell you all from the bottom of my heart. Nobody can stop you from being what you are. Nobody can block you. The whole essence is in living your life in total surrender to the Master. That is what Arjuna did. That is what Ananda did. That is what Sariputta did. That is what Peter did. And that is what John the Baptist did. And that is what you can also do. Everything is available and everything is possible. Only if you are willing to take one step towards Him, only if you are willing to take the back seat and let Him drive your life. It is only when you live your life in total surrender that you can meditate. And it is only when you meditate that you can come to your own self-realization. It happens that certain people say that they are too busy to meditate. But a great divine master once had said, "Do you have time to breathe? Meditation is your breath. Why do you have time to breathe but not to meditate?" The need of the hour is to meditate. Meditate.